Welcome, love of fooders. Tonight we're going to be making one of my favorite seafood dishes. It starts with scallops. These are nice sea scallops, about a dozen of them. Doesn't matter whether you buy fresh or frozen. I buy frozen, but I know some people, if you live near the ocean, you're going to want fresh, and that's fine too. We're going to handle them and treat them the same way. We're going to be adding into our scallops a green vegetable, which is going to be spinach. It's lovely with scallops. And that is going to be seeded over some pasta, just regular old spaghetti. Now, what's going to make this dish all come together and taste so wonderful is that we're going to be adding in some paprika and chili powder, about a teaspoon of each, to our scallops when we sear them off, because we're going to sear them in a very hot frying pan that we'll bring up to temp in a few minutes. If you can see, I already have my pot of water on the stove. I'm going to go ahead and make my pasta, so that'll be ready ahead of time and I don't have to futz with it. And when we get all of our ingredients together, we'll be finishing it off with some chicken stock. So for our spinach, we're going to be using some onion and some garlic. And then once the dish has been completed, we'll finish it off with a little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano. So in order to sear the scallops, I want to make sure that they're nice and dry and I've pulled all the moisture out from them. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to salt a baking tray that I've lined with paper towels, and I'm going to put my scallops over the top and let them sit just for about 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, so that they'll be ready when I'm ready to sear them off. So again, drawing all the moisture out. I'll take a picture of that so you'll see it, but we'll be back in just a few minutes. So what I wanted to show you here is you can see the water that's being drawn out from these scallops. And these especially, for some reason, had a lot. I think they maybe had a little bit of ice chips still on them. But what I did was I salted this bottom of the paper towel that is sitting in just a regular sheet pan. And then I salted the tops as well. So these have been sitting for about, I would say about 5 to 7 minutes so far, and they're already drawing out this water. Now, in about another, 8 to 10 minutes, what I'll do is I will flip these over and then let them pull from the other side as well. Hello, welcome back. What we're doing here is we're sweating out our onions while we are waiting for our pasta to come up to temperature. Our scallops are still sitting there very nicely doing their thing. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to make the spinach and the pasta ahead of time, so that way I can just sear off those scallops and just give them a full undivided attention because they will need it. Scallops are very fussy. You don't want to cook them long, but you want to cook them properly. And so I'm going to go ahead and sweat up some garlic as well, about a tablespoon of garlic I've just added to this. And I'm just going to let these very nicely just melt in together and get these flavors together. So in this I've added, I would say about a couple of teaspoons, maybe a tablespoon of olive oil. But see how nice these onions are, they're starting to glisten and they're starting to come up to where I want them to be. I have my spinach right here, ready to go. So as soon as I feel that garlic has melted in there enough, I'm going to go ahead and put my spinach in along with some of the seasonings. So we'll be back. All right, I just tasted my pasta and I'll be done in a few minutes. So what I've done is I've moved these onions and garlic all to the sides of this pan. And now I'm going to go ahead and just add in my spinach. Just right here on the top. Look how beautiful that is, right? Just take a picture of that, because that's one of my favorite things to see is that spinach and the onions in the pan. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a nice big cover just to help that cook down a little bit. Normally I would use a bigger pot, but I had the idea that I wouldn't make a big mess tonight for my husband to clean up since he's been at work all day long. So we're going to go ahead and just add in the last of this. And then the method to my madness is so that I can just strain my spaghetti right here in this colander. And as soon as that's done. All right, so we'll be back in just a minute. Sorry if I made y'all dizzy there. I'm going to let this continue to cook, and then we're going to add in some of our other spices into the spinach itself. All right, so you can see here our spinach has wilted. I've mixed it in a little bit with the onions and the garlic, but the reason I didn't go ahead and thoroughly mix it through is that our spaghetti has cooked, our pasta has cooked, and I've added it back to the pot that I cooked it in after I drained out all the water, and I put the chicken broth directly in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of this spinach mixture, and I'm going to put that all together in with the pasta. Now, you can leave it separate if you want. It's just that I'm trying to make a meal ahead of time. So if you really wanted to be fancy, you'd put your pasta down in your bowl, then you'd put your spinach, then you'd put your scallops on the top. But I'm trying to get a dinner on, so I think that this will come out just fine. I also added in a quarter teaspoon, of black pepper and a quarter teaspoon of salt into my mixture. Now over here, I have a teaspoon of paprika and a teaspoon of chili powder. That's reserved for the scallops. All right, we'll be back in just a few minutes. Oh, by the way, before we go, I flipped those scallops, and now you can see that they're draining on the other side as well, so those are coming along just the way we want them to. All right, I'll take a picture and show you what the spinach looks like when it's mixed in with the pasta. And so you can have an idea and decide if you want to do it that way or not. And then we'll be back to film, I believe, when we're making the scallops. Okay. Reheated it just for flavor. And I just made sure that I reheated. Just checking on these to see how they're doing. Coming along just fine. I don't want to burn them, but I want to brown them. This one can be flipped. There we go. A nice little sear on them. Go ahead and grab that first scallop that we put down and put that up. That one, like I said, I think needs just a little more browning, but I don't want to overcook it. I'll take that one, because I think that one's done. That one. I'll give that one just a minute more. That was my last one I put down. We're going to drop a little bit more butter. A little olive oil. And then we're going to put our others down. Go ahead and fold that one. Now those are cooking, and you can see what a beautiful dish it is. You can serve it with a side of garlic bread. You could have a nice glass of wine with it. That's what I plan to do. Thanks for watching. For the love of food.